The screech of metal, the shriek of brakes, tearing through the morning silence. Kaelan, a man of shadows, jolted from his trance. With a predatory leap, he closed the distance to the boy, frozen on the edge of the asphalt river. An iron grip closed on the thin fabric of the jacket, and a furious yank threw the child backward. In that same instant, a steel predator, a black sedan, streaked past, leaving behind only a trail of burnt rubber and the chilling cold of a tragedy averted. "Are you blind?" Kaelan's voice was like the rasp of rusty iron, yet it vibrated with genuine horror. "Eyes are given to see death when it barrels down on 4 wheels." The boy, Leo, stood stunned, his heart pounding in his throat. "The green light! It was on," he stammered, unable to grasp how close he'd come to the final line. "A green light is just an invitation for idiots," Kaelan cut in, his gaze, honed by years of hardship, boring through the boy. "Always remember, the world is crawling with fools. That's the main lesson." Leo finally caught his breath. His shock gave way to realization. You're right. Thank you. You saved me." "Where were you rushing off to, as if the devil himself was chasing you?" Kaelan softened, deciding the boy needed to compose himself. "To my dad. His office is just around the corner," Leo replied. "All right. Can you get there yourself, or should I go with you?" the old man asked. "Please come with me. It would be safer." The boy was still trembling. "Kaelan. My name is Kaelan," he introduced himself, to break the wall between them. "I'm Leo. Let's go quickly. My dad will reward you generously, I'm sure." The boy's voice already held a hint of authority. "I don't need anything," Kaelan mumbled. He hadn't saved a life for a jingling coin. "That won't be up to me to decide," Leo declared, with a confidence unexpected for his age. This whole scene unfolded against the backdrop of Kaelan's usual life, a life that began each morning in a nest woven from urban refuse on a high-rise rooftop. The sky was his ceiling, the city's cacophony, his lullaby. He was a recluse, a ghost of the metropolis, who didn't rummage through dumpsters but scraped together meagre pennies from the city, helping market vendors or cleaning up where others made a mess. This was his code of honor, the only thing left of his past life. Spotting a gleaming black car at the main entrance of the glass skyscraper, Leo dropped his electric scooter, which Kaelan had been carrying, and rushed towards a tall man in a perfectly tailored suit. "Dad!" he shouted, jumping onto the stately man's neck. "Leo, what are you doing here?" Ethan Vance, his father, removed his expensive glasses, peering at his son. "I nearly got hit by a car," Leo blurted out. "What? Were you rushing again? Not looking where you were going?" Ethan frantically began to inspect his son from head to toe. "No, Dad, everything's fine. This man saved me." Leo pointed to Kaelan, who stood frozen about 10 yards away. "That homeless man?" Ethan's voice held a note of disbelief. "This man saved my life," Leo stated firmly, as if carving the words into stone. He didn't like how his father had judged his rescuer by his clothes. Ethan paused. "I'm sorry. What does he want?" "He doesn't want anything, but I want you to thank him," the boy insisted. Trusting his son, Ethan approached Kaelan. "Thank you for my son," he said, extending a hand, disregarding the old man's worn clothes. "Anyone in my place would have done the same," Kaelan replied, shaking the extended hand. "How can I thank you?" Ethan asked, his gaze sweeping over Kaelan's haggard but dignified face. "I don't need anything," Kaelan repeated, unwilling to be seen as a beggar. "No, that won't do," Ethan insisted. "Come with me to my office." At the entrance, Marcus, the head of security, a man like a rock, stopped them. "Where are you going? This isn't a shelter," he barked at Kaelan. "He's with me, Marcus," Ethan snapped coldly, turning around. In his office, which resembled a spaceship's bridge, Ethan seated Kaelan in a chair opposite him. "I'm Ethan Vance, owner of this construction empire. I know everything has a price. Name yours." Kaelan remained silent. "All right. A fishing rod is better than a fish," Ethan said after a pause. "I won't give you money. I'll give you a chance to earn it. A cleaner's position in this building. The salary is modest, but it's stability. I accept, Kaelan breathed out. This was a chance. Excellent! My assistant will handle all the paperwork. You'll be assigned our utility room. You can live there. Kaelan was stunned. Not just food, but a roof over his head. A real roof. Soon Serena, Ethan's assistant, appeared. An icy blonde in a short skirt, whose gaze exuded arrogance and disdain. She quickly processed Kaelan's paperwork, not bothering to hide her disgust. Kaelan's new life began with the dawn. He polished the marble floors until they gleamed while the building still slept. Marcus, the head of security, was the first to see him. Good morning, Kaelan. My apologies for yesterday. My name is Marcus. It's all right, the old man replied calmly. They shook hands. But Marcus's assistant, Rory, a young and arrogant guard, felt differently. What kind of merits do tramps have for the boss to hire them? He asked, venom in his voice. The same ones they hired you for, Kaelan retorted sharply. Rory's face turned crimson, ready to throw a punch. Kaelan only tightened his grip on the broom handle, his posture signalling readiness for a fight. Marcus, returning, broke them up with a shout. Days flowed by. Kaelan became part of the office machinery, invisible yet indispensable. Leo often visited him, bringing laughter and life into his Spartan cell. They played chess, and the old man, to the boy's surprise, proved to be a brilliant strategist. One day, Ethan's wife, Anna, came to the office with Leo. She brought a homemade pie. Thank you! Her voice trembled with suppressed tears. Leo told me. Kaelan looked embarrassed. Your son exaggerates. They drank tea in his tiny room, and Anna saw an intelligent and sensitive man behind the old man's stern exterior. A friendship also blossomed with Clara, the chief accountant, a plump and kind woman who fed him homemade pies and defended him from the barbs of the sarcastic Serena. One time, a drunk troublemaker burst into the office. While security was off duty, Kaelan, with a few precise, lightning-fast movements, disarmed the hooligan. Rory, returning, froze in astonishment. From that day on, the ice in his attitude towards the old man began to melt. Tension grew around Ethan. His business was being targeted for a hostile takeover by a predator from the past, a crime boss who had legalized his operations. Silas, the vulture Thorn. He arrived exuding menace, his words soft but promising violence. Ethan held firm, but the tension hung heavy in the air. One weekend, Marcus invited Kaelan and Rory to his country house. In the sauna, amidst the clouds of steam, Rory noticed a faded tattoo on Kaelan's forearm. It's a relic of my youth, the old man said curtly. Military. Afghanistan? Marcus clarified, showing his own, similar but more modern one. Yes, Kaelan's voice grew thick. A constant reminder of a war that left scars not just on the skin. Soon important tender documents, which Thorn was also vying for, went missing from Ethan's office. Ethan installed hidden cameras. A few days later, while stopped near a supermarket, Kaelan saw Serena, their secretary, emerge from Thorn's luxury car. The pieces of the puzzle began to fit. He told Ethan everything. They devised a plan. Ethan, in front of everyone, handed Clara a fake folder containing supposedly vital documents for a new multi-million-dollar contract, leaving it on his desk overnight. Cameras recorded Serena, after waiting for everyone to leave, sneaking into the office and stealing the folder. The next day, Ethan showed her the recording. You're fired! His voice was cold as steel. He contacted the police, specifically Inspector Miller, who had long held a grudge against Thorn, but couldn't get close to him. Then, something happened that turned Ethan's world upside down. Reviewing the camera footage, he saw Kaelan taking off his shirt before entering the shower, revealing his tattoo. An icy shock coursed through Ethan. He had seen that design before. At home, with trembling hands, he rummaged through an old family photo box, and there it was. A photograph of his young father, Nicholas Vance, who had died in Afghanistan 30 years ago. On his forearm was the exact same tattoo. At 6 a.m, he burst into Kaelan's tiny room and threw the photograph onto the table. Where did you get this? Kaelan whispered, his face as white as a sheet. These are my parents, and that boy is me. Ethan's voice trembled. Why didn't you come back? And Kaelan told his story of a disabled tank, of captivity, of escape, of years of servitude, of returning to an ash heap where his family was no longer there, of futile searches, of a fight in a club where he protected a girl, and of a prison sentence orchestrated by the influential father of a scoundrel, of shame and life on the streets. Ethan listened, and the walls of his world crumbled. He in turn spoke of his mother, who upon receiving the death notice, moved to another city, changed her surname, and married a wonderful man who adopted him and gave him everything. That evening, Ethan told everything to his wife and son. Hooray! Kaelan is my grandpa, Leo shouted, and his delight melted away any lingering doubts. The family was reunited. Kaelan moved into his son's home, but Thorn's shadow continued to loom over them. On Inspector Miller's advice, Ethan decided to provoke the predator. He ostentatiously arrived at Thorn's office, brandishing a fake folder of documents supposedly guaranteeing him victory in a key tender. Get out, Thorn hissed, enraged. I'll destroy you. And he gave orders to his thugs, but this time not to touch Vance, to kidnap his son. Kaelan and Leo were walking in the park. Suddenly, two shadows detached from the trees and seized the boy. Kaelan lunged at them like an old lion. He fought fiercely, but the numerical advantage and a cheap shot to the head did their work. He collapsed to the ground. Ethan, working in conjunction with the police, received a call from Thorn. Your son is with me. Sell the company, or... The police traced the kidnapper's call. A SWAT team stormed the abandoned house where the captives were held and freed them. Unaware of this, Ethan arrived at Thorn's office to sign the documents. Just as Thorn was savouring his impending victory, Ethan's phone rang. It was Kaelan. We're safe, son. The deal is off, Ethan said, snatching the papers from Thorn's stunned hands. In the same second, the door burst open and Inspector Miller entered the office with his team. Silas Thorn, you are under arrest. A few days later, Ethan entered the now empty utility room, where his father's modest belongings still lay. Dad, pack up. Let's go home. You don't need to work here anymore. You have me, and it's time you seriously got to work raising your grandson, especially since Anna and I will soon have another addition to the family.